Set 4 Send Technical Question and Answers. Answers are highlighted in green. Question 1. Regulatory submission scenario. A CRO is preparing a SEND dataset for a non-clinical study submission to the FDA. Which version of the SEND implementation guide must they follow? So, if you know the clinical guidelines practice properly, without even looking into the options, you should know the answer that whatever the version that is mentioned in the protocol, which is the foundation of the conducting the clinical trial study, in that whatever the version that is mentioned, that is what you need to follow. So the correct answer is B, the sent version referenced in the study protocol at initiation, right? Now let us look at the option A, the latest sent IG version regardless of study initiation date. No, this is the not the right answer. The sent IG version specified by the sponsor organization. No, even though the sponsor has specified to you or has mentioned to you verbally to use that specific version, you should not follow unless and until you make any amendments in the protocol which is different from what the verbally the sponsor is telling you to follow the version guidelines of the send IG. You should not follow the version that has been verbally informed to you by the sponsor. Whatever that is mentioned in the protocol, that is what you need to follow. Say for example, if the sponsor is suggesting you to follow some different version, then you have to make amendments in the protocol first, then only you have to follow. Option D, any send IG version as long as it's clearly documented. No, you cannot perform any kind of activities in clinical trial unless and until it is not mentioned in the protocol. So in protocol, everything will be mentioned, all those things that you will be doing, and even all those things you will not, which you will not be doing, that also will be mentioned in the protocol. Question 2. Control terminology. In a SEND dataset, a lab measurement is recorded using a code that isn't part of the CDISC control terminology. How should this situation be handled? Option A is replace the code with a value from a different terminology system. No, you cannot replace that code with any different terminology system which is outside the CDISC control terminology system. Use the closest matching term in the CDISC control terminology. No, you cannot use the closest matching term. You have to use the exact control terminology. Option D, exclude the measurement from the data set. No, you cannot exclude the data set. You have to include that record, even though if that is not a part of the CDISC control terminology. So in that situation, you can document the new term in a code list extension and include it in the submission. So you cannot include any kind of information or any kind of record, especially in the clinical trial that has happened in the clinical study duration. Question 3. Dataset structure. When creating the trial summary TS dataset, which variable is used to record the duration of the study in days? Option B says TS param. This is for the parameter, so you cannot use this. TS val NF. This also you cannot use it. TS SEQ. This is a sequence number, so even this you can not use it. So the correct answer is TS val, where your val is nothing but your value, and that is nothing but the duration of study. Hence the correct answer is A. Question 4. Specific purpose datasets. Which of the following datasets is specifically used to record relationships between findings and their associated test results in SEND? So the correct answer is related records, even without looking into the options, because you are dealing with recording the relationship. So this rel-rec records is nothing but used for checking the relationships between the records. So the option A DM, that is not the right answer. Option C EX exposure, that is also not the right answer. Supplemental qualifiers, no, that is also not the right answer. So the rel-rec related records domain is that specific domain that is used to record relationships between findings and their associated test. Question 5. Dataset validation. A SEND dataset fails validation because a required variable is missing in EX dataset. Which is the best course of action? Option A, exclude the EX dataset from the submission. No, you cannot exclude any kind of dataset from the submission even though that dataset fails in the validation. You cannot exclude that. Option C, generate a justification document from the missing variable. No, you cannot do this also. Option D, rerun the study to generate complete data. No, you cannot even do this. So the correct answer is B, add the required variable with a null value if applicable, right? So that is the best course of action. Question 6. Animal grouping. In a SEND dataset, how are animals grouped by their treatment group? So in SEND dataset, we generally group the animals using the arm variable in the TX dataset, right? So option B, using the treatment group variable in the DM dataset, that is not the right answer. Using the param code variable in the dataset, that is not we use. And using the arm code variable, now this is just a specific code, it's not the specific arm name, right? So we don't use this. Question 7. Study data traceability. Which datasets should be used to provide traceability between an adverse event and the associated dosing data? Now, the domain that is used for the dosing data is nothing but your EX domain, right? Now, I want to check the traceability. So, between two domains, if I want to check the traceability, the only option, the correct answer is RELREC related records, because some information it is present here, some information it is present here, but the connectivity, the connectivity is mentioned in the RELREC record. So that is why the correct answer is RELREC, to provide the traceability between the AE and the associated dosing drug. Hence the option A is not the right answer, B is also not the right answer, and clinical observation is specifically not the right answer, right? Question 8. Test result units. If a unit is missing for a test result in the LB dataset, how should this be resolved? Option A. Leave the unit field blank. No, you cannot leave the unit field blank if the test result is missing. Use a placeholder value like NA. No, you cannot use even a placeholder if the unit is missing for a specific test result. Use the unit specified in the control terminology. No, you cannot even do this. So the correct answer is provide an appropriate unit or document the omission. So whatever that is missing, you have to document it, and if it is possible, you give the appropriate unit, or you can go back to your lab vendors and you can raise the query as to why the unit is missing for a specific test result. So in that situation, you may even raise the query to the site and the monitoring site, and then the lab vendors, they will give you the correct unit. Question 9. Send datasets for carcinogenicity studies. In a 2-year carcinogenicity study, which dataset would be critical to include lesion-related findings? So the correct answer here is option A, which is microscopic findings that deals with the carcinogenicity study. So the CL, which is not the right answer, EG is not the right answer, and body weight, that is also not the right answer. Question 10. Metadata for findings. Which of the following metadata fields is mandatory for describing test results in a findings dataset like LB? So the correct answer is all of the above. The reason is we need original result, we need the standardized result in character, and we need the original result in unit. So all these three variables, they are important and they are mandatory, right? So they are very important, then they are very mandatory for describing the test results, for understanding that specific record and for understanding that specific lab parameter. Hence the correct answer is all of the above. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment mentioning any topic that you want me to make a video. Looking forward for a positive response. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.